just Kendrick, I would make love to him. There's nothing he can do about it. Just Kendrick Lamar. I would make love to him, and the only thing that he could do is decide if it's consensual or not. That's the only thing he could do. If it's me and Kendrick, no. This is about physics. It's about physics. I don't even know if I get hard. But if we're in a cell, there's a chance that if we're in a cell and we're bored and we done tattooed each other, whatever you do in the cell, and we ran out of board games and we did all the other things, we cleaned everything, and I'm like, man, I might as well fuck you. There's nothing he could physically do to stop that besides put his legs in the air and choose a position. Maybe I'll let him choose a position.
Number one, what in the buck breaking is going on here? And why did that comedian be so offended by saying, hey, you shouldn't talk to women this way? And why did the other dude find it so hilarious? Number two, I can't decide if this mustache remind me of a Adolf or a corn star. Which round y'all think? Number three, he just revealed that there are particular men like him that really want to conquer melanin masculinity, if you can catch my drift. Number four, what does it say about him that he didn't went into this little racial innuendo about being in a jail cell? And this is where he admits that you want to make love to Kendrick Lamar. What? Number five, he then went into detail about how his piece would be and what positions they'll be in. Oh, he really thought about this. Number six, what he's doing is not comedy at all. It's literally getting off on all his little dispositions about racism that he really got in the closet. But the closet is glass. It's see-through. We see you. Number seven, this man is really insulting our intelligence, trying to disguise microaggressions and implicit bias towards people that look like me as comedy. Man, you ain't got no punchline in this shit. My last point, you want to know why this man was so comfortable in going in like this? Because brothers like him create climates that always make folks like this feel comfortable in getting up what they gonna say in the name of being comedic and freedom of speech, man. Education is elevation.
I'm still trying to figure out what's funny there for him to be laughing like that. Like, we even use the term comedian very loosely these days. Very, very loosely. I remember back in the days, like, you actually had to work to be a comedian. I guess having a white brain has a tendency of making low IQ jokes funny. And I can tell that we have a different sense of humor. You need to make jokes about black people. That's what it entices the minds of white Americans or white people in general. Got it.
Andrew Schultz. I feel like not enough people are talking about the buck breaking comments. For those of you that don't know, buck breaking is what masters used to do to the people that they owned to break them psychologically, mentally, physically, as many ways as they could. I have to be careful with the language, but they used to take them and publicly essay them to literally break them, because that's just what they used to do. So to bridge the gap, Kendrick Lamar said, don't let no white comedian talk about no black woman, that's law. Valid, valid, valid. Because you were making comments and there were two people who were sitting next to you on the podcast who just laughed and let it ride. They were uncomfortable, but they let it ride. So from there, you heard his song and then publicly decided to play it back on the podcast and then tell the world that you could, if you wanted to, do that to him physically. Very weird response anyways, but it's rooted in that, just so you know. He wasn't even talking to you. He literally said, don't let no white comedian. He was talking to the other two men. But it bothered you, and you doubled down on your unfunniness. And now Sarah has...
Andrew Schultz's response to Kendrick Lamar was so wild that he left Kendrick Lamar with only two options. You either squabble up and fight him, or you just ignore him. He said he would put Kendrick Lamar's legs together and make sweet love to him. And it got way worse. No, did he? If that isn't diabolical, then I don't know what is. Now, you might be thinking, why is Andrew Schultz talking all that crazy talk to Kendrick Lamar? I don't know if you remember, a couple of months ago, Shits and Gigs went into the Andrew Schultz show. And Andrew Schultz made a couple of jokes towards black women. After the episode aired, people were going at Shits and Gigs like, how are you going to let them say that? Then Shits and Gigs came back with, we didn't say it, he did. And also said that they looked awkward when the joke was being told, and apparently they told Andrew Schultz to move on during their apology speech. Then the plot twist happened. Andrew Schultz makes a response to them saying he sent them the footage and asked them if there was anything they wanted to be removed. Apparently, Shits and Gigs asked for a few things to be removed, but they left that specific line and backfired. It was stress for Shits and Gigs. Andrew Schultz, being a comedian, he just moved on with his life and kept doing what he was doing. Then on Kendrick Lamar's new song, Whack That Mural, he said the line about don't let no white comedian speak bad about black women. And in this new episode of Andrew Schultz show, he spent like 25 minutes just going at Kendrick Lamar. Most of them were laughing at the beginning except the black guy. You can see how awkward he felt in the video. You know, the one that... Now, Andrew Schultz's discourse was around the fact that he's a comedian, that anybody can get these jokes, and if you marginalize a group, then it means that he's actually trying to be offensive to the other groups except one group. From Kendrick Lamar's perspective, he's like, protect our women. This is about culture, and we don't want someone out of the culture saying something negative about people that we care about. But if you've heard it, let me know what you guys think. Do you feel that some jokes shouldn't be said, or everybody should be able to make jokes about each other?
And for this white to get online and say these kinds of things about a black man, and for another black man to sit there laughing alongside with him is absolutely disgusting. Like,
so y'all ready to talk about bed bucking? No, I don't want to talk about it either. But here's the deal: Charlemagne is canceled because if you're not gonna sit here and call this Peckerwood out for what the fuck he said about SA on King Kendrick, it's diabolical and it's fucking weird. I'm just gonna be honest, it's fucking weird. And nigga, at the end of the day, Kendrick was talking about the Negroes who let the Peckerwoods, pink meats, talk about black folks. So while that pink meat getting mad and all this extra shit, we talking about the that was letting the shit slide. Now, Charlemagne, what you finna say now? That's it. Because we ain't finna play these fucking games.
It's super funny that Kendrick Lamar threw shots at the Shits and Gigs podcast because, like, I remember when, like, we were, like, in the height of the Kendrick Lamar Drake beef, and after enough songs, I was like, it really seems like these dudes might be chronically online, and this kind of confirms that for me. Yeah, too soon to say anything about the album, really, like, conclusive, but it's a good album. It's cool. It's fun. Shout out to the West Coast. The West Coast is really doing their thing. It's cool that he, like, featured so many, like, LA artists. Anyhow, I fucked up my transit thing, and now I'm in Boston. Genuinely, I've never been to Boston before. I'm not even supposed to be here right now. So I'm about to turn around and hop on more buses or something. And yeah. Dude, I'm so mad about this. Why am I...
So you have a black hip-hop artist who united all of the gangs in LA and put them on one stage. Never been done. I don't think most people can appreciate how fucking crazy that is. And a white comedian's response. I had to talk about this right away because I'm like, I don't know what the fuck this timeline is, but that's so crazy. Hip-hop artist from Compton takes down one of the biggest pop stars of this generation, unites every major gang on one stage, never been done before. And a white comedian goes on a podcast and talks about how he would SA that person. He would have X with that person against their will. A black man. A white comedian says this about a black man on a podcast. This is just so crazy to me. And that white comedian lives in LA. I'm not a proponent for violence. I wouldn't wish harm on anybody. But that is such an interesting and audacious move. I am curious to see how that unfolds for him. He's obviously not worth a response from the fucking Pulitzer Prize winning rapper. But what an interesting decision to make while living in LA. I feel like you may have lost your mind. Out of everything that's happened out of this beef, this is like, for some reason, the most shocking thing to me. I think you've fully lost it. Instead of being like, yeah, you know what? I shouldn't have talked about black women. You take it unbelievably far. And not only double down on talking about black women, but say you could forcibly force yourself on this man against his will, which would be wrong any way you sliced it. But this is the man who united every gang on one stage, and you live in LA. What is...
White people always do what they do best, retreating back to the system to help them out because they've gotten themselves into problems that they knew that were problems.
If you grew up around white people, then you know that white people have a tendency to say racist things and then go, bro can't take a joke. The only reason why I know black jokes at all is because white people come up to me and be like, bro, listen to this joke, and then would tell me the most egregious jokes about black people, and then be like, don't be so sensitive, it's just a joke, bro. So it actually tracks for me that this man, Andrew Schultz, who I felt like has been cosplaying as Adolf for a very long time. I mean, the hairstyle and the mustache ain't doing it for y'all. Y'all ain't seen this. When he had these two black guys on his podcast, decided to make a joke about the black wife effect and saying that the only black wife effect is insert all the negative stereotypes. Because it's just a joke, right? Now, these two had to get up and apologize because that's what happens is when you're black and you even allow yourself to be in these spaces, you have to apologize for your white friend. Trust me, I grew up in the suburbs. So when Kendrick on his new album says, don't ever let a white comedian joke about black women, that's law, obviously referring to the fact that James and Fuhad allowed this white comedian to joke about black women. Adolf Schultz concluded that Kendrick is just too woke to take a joke. By the way, woke just means black at this point. But it would appear the only person who has a problem with somebody saying something about you.
There is nothing funny at all about anybody threatening to essay another human being. I don't care if it's a woman to a man to a woman, two women, two men. I don't care. There's nothing funny about that. It's not a joke. I'm a survivor of essay. It's not a joke at all. And to put it in a different perspective, especially if you are a white man, why would any white man, comedian or not, try to joke about taking advantage of another man sexually that is black? Do you not know what butt breaking is? See, comedians, they have to have a certain level of intelligence, correct? When they're saying these tired little jokes or whatever the case may be, they have to have some form of like backing behind it, right? They should know about what they're talking about before they say it, right? Right? Because what made you think in your right mind it's okay to even say that? Why? Because Kendrick sat here and said, hey, don't let these white comedians talk ish about black women, and that made you so mad you want to say a weird essay joke? And then you want to sit here and act like you care about women in the hip-hop community or how male rappers portray women in the hip-hop community. You don't even listen to rap. You don't even care. This guy, Andrew Schultz, whatever his name is, you're a weirdo, bro. Like,
to turn on a podcast mic and start talking about making love to a black man involuntarily. As a matter of fact, to talk about making love to anyone without their consent is insane. Is insane. For that palm-colored man to get on here and say that he would make love to Kendrick Lamar whether or not he liked it. Whether or not he liked it. With a straight face. When is it enough? When is it too far? And then you suggested that it would happen in a jail cell. What's that about? What did you mean by that? I need you to say more. The way y'all view black bodies is insane. And I know y'all are going to say he was just joking, but every joke has a little bit of truth to it. Okay? And even if you were just joking, for that statement to leave your mouth is insane, is uncomfortable, is inappropriate, and why should anyone have to tell you that? There is an obsession with hypersexualizing, conquering, and criminalizing black bodies. And he was able to touch on all 3 points in less than 2 minutes.